Hello and welcome to the Untranslatable Podcast. We are here recording episode 125, and today we are on the road again. Well, Jared was on the road again in beautiful Ludington, Michigan, and I am in a way on the road again trying to explore my new home away from home. So we'll be discussing what we've been up to lately, and we're really looking forward to bringing this episode your way. And I have to say, I am very jealous of Jared being able to visit beautiful Ludington during Labor Day weekend in the States, which is a long weekend for us. I was able to also somewhat celebrate Labor Day weekend because I teach every other Monday, so I had yesterday off. So still trying to stick to some American traditions when I can over here in Jinan, China. So we're looking forward to it. And without further ado, my good buddy Jared. What's going on, Jared?
Hello. Yeah, I'm back from a long weekend in Ludington. I'm very relaxed. One with nature, one with myself, really.
There you go. Nice.
What I first want to say is
spread a little love
and follow us on Instagram. You can see some Ludington pictures. They have a great sunset. So not to brag, but I have some top-notch sunset pictures.
Nice.
Courtesy of my iPhone 8 Plus. Check them out. Untranslatable Podcast. Twitter, Untranslatable1, the number 1. I post the episodes there. And maybe you'll get a
sassy
sunset picture. Sunset picture is what I meant. If I'm feeling nice. I am feeling congested if you haven't noticed.
Uh-oh.
But please, also
spread a little love
with the 5-star reviews. Those really help my congestion. Clears it up. The more we get, the more I breathe clearly. But yeah, no, I did spend my long weekend in Ludington. It was very nice. I've been there. You know, only reason I really chose Ludington is because when I was in high school, my cousin had his family had a house in Idlewild, which is right next to Ludington. And so we went to Ludington, and I was like, oh, this is nice. It was great. Went to the beach, did, beach stuff. And I was like, I know this place. And so we went there. It was great. We went kayaking in the state park, saw the sand dunes. I don't think I've ever seen sand dunes before.
Really?
And
you've spent how many years of your life in Michigan and you haven't seen sand dunes?
Are those as far as not being in the desert, are those like a uniquely Michigan, like American thing for Michigan or something? Are there other non-deserty places that have sand dunes?
That's
Usually
a great question,
Jared.
Jared.
When I hear sand dunes, I think of like dry desert areas,
Right.
I knew we had them, obviously. I don't think I'd ever seen them. And we also have the famous Sleeping Bear Dunes I don't think I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Spent a lot of time at the beach. The beach was great. Except for the fact that it wasn't really that warm outside. I think the hottest I probably got was 75. But it was probably like low 70s, high 60s. But if the sun was out, not that bad. And it was super chill. It was super chill. Except the only thing about, I love the beach. I love going to the beach. I love hanging out at the beach. The worst thing about the beach, what's the worst thing about the beach for you? What do you hate?
Sand everywhere.
Yes. The
It's
sand
terrible.
is by far the worst part of the beach.
you betcha.
I hate sand. And that's the thing. When you go to the beach, the main goal is avoiding sand. You lay out something so you don't have to sit on the sand.
Yep.
And then there's the annoyance of having sand on your feet after you get out of the water or something like that. The water was freezing, by the way, just to be clear.
I believe it.
But that was cool.
I would say in Ludington, you're good. I would say in Ludington, if you're going to go swimming, you want to make sure it's a very hot day. And then the water's still freezing, but at least because it's so hot,
That's
feels
crazy,
good.
though. Because it was August, and I'm like, end of August, beginning of September. I was like, this is the heat. This is the pun intended heat of summer,
Right.
And this is the best you can do. And so
I don't know though, man. Before I left, it kind of started to feel like fall.
But it was warmer here in Ferndale. I will say that.
Okay.
I think
Fair
maybe
enough.
some of that lake effect,
Could be. Yeah. The other
Now,
thing
let me
is
ask you
too.
this. Have you been to Ludington before?
I have. I went there for
Okay.
the first time last summer, and it was beautiful. And
What was the
on
occasion?
I went camping with my ex, actually.
Okay.
And her friends. It was a lot of fun, though. It was really nice. And we got to see the lake, Lake Michigan. And there was some also beautiful sunsets as well. Spent a lot of time out overlooking the lake during the sunsets. And yeah, I was actually hoping to get out there this summer and didn't make it. So maybe next summer we might have to make an untranslatable trip to Ludington as well, and check that out.
You and I go camping together.
That's right. That's right. A little untranslatable retreat. That's right. I'm curious though, Jared. What was the kayaking like? That sounds like a lot of fun.
Ooh, the kayaking was fun. So the kayaking was not in Lake Michigan. Ludington is on Lake Michigan. But because, once again, it is Michigan, there are lakes everywhere. So this was actually on, I believe it was called Lake Hamlin. It was within the state park. And we rented a two-person kayak. You can either do singulars or two-person. I kind of think two-person's more fun if it's just two people. And so we did that. And we had it for 2 hours. Excuse me. And it was actually, we started off in like this little part off to the side of the lake. It was very chill, and then eventually we went out into the lake, which, even though this wasn't Lake Michigan, it was still a big lake. Like, there were still people on their boats on this lake, so it was a legitimate lake. And I wasn't really nervous. I haven't kayaked a lot. Let me be clear. I think the third time I kayaked, this was the third time I kayaked, the second time being with my sister in Ann Arbor a couple months ago. And the time before that, I don't even remember, but I know I've done it before. So I wasn't really nervous about falling, because like when I did it last time with my sister, I was like, oh, I get this. Like, it's much harder to fall than one might think. However, at the last place where I went with my sister, they took car keys as a deposit. So I was like, oh, perfect. I'll just give them car keys, like deposit for the boat. And then I go kayaking, and then when I come back, I get my keys back. Now, this place only took either money or a license, so I gave the license. But then I was like, can you take my car keys? And he's like, nah. And I was like, all right. So I had a life jacket on, and I with my keychain, like, I ringed it to the a part of my life jacket, and I was just like, I hope this doesn't get wet. See what happens. Right. And also, like, this is like one of those like smart key thingies. So I was like, I don't know, like it's not like I have another car, and it has like a normal key, and it's like, oh yeah, like if it gets wet, maybe the buttons won't work, but I still have the key. But this is like, I don't know what's gonna happen. So that was like a level of like, it did feel like Iron Man's little circle thing with like looking at my key. Like, it felt like if you touch this the wrong way, something really bad could happen, and I'm not really sure what it is. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun, and it was cool. Like first we started off in the slow area, and it was kind of chill, and then once you got out to like the main area, starting to get like the waves and stuff, and managing the waves a little bit. It was a lot of fun, and it's a good workout too. My arms were tired.
I'll bet it's a great workout. I will say this: I prefer kayaking definitely on lakes instead of rivers. Because
why's that?
Well, so with lakes, you do have the danger of boats, I guess, depending on how big the lake is. But like with rivers, you have so much more like debris, like branches and sticks and logs, and you got to really make sure you're paying attention to where the river is going.
Maybe you could be a little bit more active, because like, do you prefer the open water because it's better for lazy situations?
Yep, I'm trying to relax, Jared.
That makes sense.
You're going for that workout.
A thrill.
Yeah. Right. Well, and see, when we went to Ludington last summer, I did the tandem kayak with my ex, and I was in the back, and the back is generally the one that does the steering, right? And it had been a long time since I'd been on a kayak, and this thing was pretty big, and it was kind of heavy. And so there were a couple times where I definitely got smacked in the face by branches. So that also wasn't great.
When I went with my sister, that was like, she was like, well, she had kayaked a couple times before that, apparently, let's be clear. Because she was like, well, I'll go in the front, because usually the front is the steerer, and I've done this a few times before. In my head, I was like, I didn't know the front was the steer, but I was like, okay. And so she went into the front, and like we kept on twist spinning around and going in the wrong direction, and we're like, why can't we get this? And then like after a couple of minutes, I was like, you know what? I think I'm the only one with control like oversteering.
Yep.
I was like, I've been watching you do stuff and nothing happens. And look, when I just stick it in, we turn this way, or if and so once I learned that made everything a lot easier. Then I was like, oh,
Right.
okay.
I feel like
but I
there
was
is a
in the
bit
back
of a
this time,
learning
too.
curve. Okay, I feel like there's a bit of a learning curve, like getting the right kind of, how to turn at the right angle and everything with a kayak. But yeah, they're a lot of fun.
I've canoed before though, so I wasn't a complete noob.
Right.
I at least knew I had my badge from Cub Scouts, not to brag.
There you go. There you go.
Whatever.
I would prefer a kayak over a canoe though, just because. I don't know. I've been in canoes a couple times, and a couple times they flipped on me. I remember a couple summers ago, I was going down the Kalamazoo River in Albion with Drew Scott and Matt Gallick, and Matt and I were in a canoe, and we ended up hitting a sandbank that we didn't realize, and then the canoe flipped over.
Yeah, but is this a great example of those canoes can be dangerous?
Not that they're dangerous. I think they just flip easier than kayaks.
I'm just questioning your guys' sobriety. That's all. And I was like, I'm trusting these guys for. I mean, it is legendarily called Cabrewing for a reason.
That is true. That is true.
But yeah, no. So that was fun. I will say this, and now listen. I don't hate to be this guy. That's not true. It does get. I did get some Get Out vibes. It is very weird being I don't like the feeling of there is sort of that feeling of being the only black people in 100-mile radius of this place.
Right.
And I hate for it to be it's not even it's an issue, but sometimes you feel like you walk into a place and everyone's just oh, look at that or something like that.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe I'm paranoid. Listen, no, I'm the problem. I take it back. Everyone's lovely.
Well, I can relate to that a bit, Jared, here being in China.
Oh, that's a good point.
I get stares all the time now.
That's a good point.
We'll talk about that more later.
Anyone.
Yeah.
So when we first got there, we did go to the farmer's market. We were going to get some fruit for the beach, but there wasn't really much fruit options. Not really apple season, obviously, which is something we will get to, by the way. We will do an episode on that. We haven't talked about this, but we should definitely do an episode on that because I will be going. But anyway... there was a station where they had wine and the guy said you could taste any of them, and there were maybe 12 different flavors of wine.
Sounds
but
dangerous.
These were fruit wines. So
Okay.
it was say
a cherry wine.
Yes, or a peach or something like that. And we tasted a bunch of them, and we ended up buying one of them. And It was cool. It was cool to see the little farmer's market, but it was a pathetic farmer's market. I will say that there was not much options there. But the wine was good. I haven't drank it yet, but I got some treats today from the grocery store that I think will be nicely paired, and I'll come back with the review of that. But yeah, it was cool. It was cool.
What kind
it was
of wine
made.
did you get again? What fruit?
Oh man, I don't remember because we bought it the first day we got there. And we didn't drink it while we were there, so it's just been sitting around. I'll update it. I'll let you know. I'll take a picture of it and I'll put it on the gram. I'll let you know. I believe it's black cherry, but I don't even know why I put that out there because I'm nowhere close to positive on that.
Okay, fair enough.
The food was okay, but I didn't expect much. It is like a beach town. It's not like no one considers Ludington to be a culinary masterpiece by any means, but it was good. I went to Cracker Barrel, which on the way there, which is a classic American stop. Could you explain Cracker Barrel?
Oh yeah, my parents love Cracker Barrel, especially my dad.
I love Cracker Barrel too.
So yeah, Cracker Barrel. Well, it's half. Well, if it's still like it used to be, half of it was a restaurant, and then half of it's like a kooky gift shop with all sorts of crazy gifts and stuff. Like they have rocking chairs on their porch, and it just reminds me of kind of like
2/3. Excuse me. I'd say more like maybe 2/3, 1/3, but it's probably more places to eat than wacky 1950s esque store.
But I feel like Cracker Barrel is like the franchise or chain of like when I think of Americana eats, like old
Yes.
school American food, like biscuits and gravy, really good
Yes.
fried chicken. I always got the fried chicken when I go there. I
Amazing,
love
great
fried
breakfast too.
chicken. What did you
And
guys get?
I got breakfast. I've been getting into fried eggs recently. You remember you were there when I got it.
I
at
do
the,
remember. Yep. Yeah, the Fleetwood. That's right.
I really have been getting. I've been talking about it too. I've been getting into fried eggs recently, so I got fried eggs. You get to choose between. So there's sausage, bacon, and sausage links and patties, and ham. Excuse me. And you get to pick 3 of those options. And so I picked 2 bacons and a sausage patties.
Nice.
And then also pancakes and warm apples, like the caramelized apples. Is
That
what I
sounds
got.
delicious. What did
And
that set you back? I'm just curious.
that was probably. Oh, I can tell you exactly what it was. That was, I believe, just under $10, $9.60.
That's
something.
really good. That's a good deal, I'd say.
And Sydney got the fried fish platter, which is catfish, I believe, with green beans and mac and cheese, and that also comes with 2 biscuits.
Yep. The biscuits are
And-
bomb at the Cracker Barrel.
Yes, I had some of them also, by the way.
Nice.
And that was probably like $11.
Okay. That's still really good. I'm
yeah.
assuming Sydney has been to Cracker Barrel before.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
a classic. It's also a classic, like, American road trip stop, I'd say, too.
Oh, I would agree. Definitely.
And this was about a 3.5 to 4 hour drive there. So it was like, perfect prime Cracker Barrel time. And so there was that. And then it was great. We had like a little, I'd call it like it was essentially a nice motel. Let's put it that way. Like, I don't
Okay.
want to glorify it too much, but it was like one room, and then there was a bathroom, obviously. And it was, you had like an entrance, and they had like this little code, like you type a code in, and, you can like twist it to unlock or lock it. And
Okay.
that was the thing. And so they gave us a code, and we had access to our little room without keys, which was nice.
Mm-hmm.
And
Just don't forget that code.
it was pretty nice in the little room. And it was literally it was like a 3-minute walk, if that, to the beach.
Oh,
and
very
so
nice.
it was like right across the street from the beach. And it was great. It was great.
That's perfect.
And it's rare that I go on vacation and like actually relax. No vacation I go on. Like, for example, when I got back from our European vacation, I was freaking exhausted.
Yeah. I was too. All my colleagues were well rested at my school, and I was just like, I need another day
God.
of vacation to recuperate from
Yeah,
you and
it
Don
was
being
rough.
here. Yeah. You need those relaxation vacations, though, I'd say.
But like there was like truly no, because it's not like there were any sights to see. Like we went to the state park, we went to the beach. That's really what Ludington is. Other than
Right.
we went
that's why you
to
go there, yeah.
House of Flavors and got ice cream, and
Okay, nice.
and so like it was just a great. It was easy to have like no agenda. We knew we wanted to go to the beach. That was easy. It was right across the street. We went there like 3 times, and we
Nice.
knew we wanted to go to the state park and go kayaking at some point. And that was really it. That was all the plan we had.
Okay. Sometimes
from there
little
on-
plans or no plans are the best plans.
From there, it was great. It was great. And yeah, but now we're back to reality. Do you know what Labor Day is? Why we celebrate Labor Day?
Oh, man, that's a great
How
question.
long we've been celebrating Labor Day?
Well, it was... I don't know the history of Labor Day whatsoever. I mean, I know it's to celebrate the workers, right? I mean, that's what I would
that
imagine.
seems pretty obvious. I mean, you don't have to be a genius for that one, but
Right.
good job. You betcha. Yeah, no, it started in. Just to be clear, I didn't know anything about it either. I didn't mean to be that snarky because I don't know anything, except for the fact that it obviously is like to sell. So here, I'll just read a little bit. Labor Day in the United States of America is a public holiday celebrated on the first Monday in September. It honors the American labor movement and the power of collective action by laborers who are essential for the workings of society. It is the Monday of the long weekend known as Labor Day weekend. It is recognized as a federal holiday.
Mm-hmm.
And it started sometime in the late 1800s, the late 19th century. So yeah, I mean, I'll take it. You know, I tend to get Labor Day and Memorial Day mixed up. I'm not gonna lie. Memorial Day
I have too.
Is in May.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, but it's nice to have that long weekend, and I'm fortunate to have a long weekend. Well, pretty much every weekend, but then super long weekend every other, since I have class on Mondays every other week.
Right. Right.
And we can get to that a little bit later, but yeah, but it sounds like you've had a great time in Ludington.
I did.
Makes me really happy, buddy. It's such a great place to spend time.
I'm gonna have some maybe black cherry wine after this. I'll keep you guys posted on that on Untranslatable Podcast.
There you go. Well, Jared, I think it might be time to
Spread a little love.
I agree, Chad. Now I don't have any love to spread. I was too busy relaxing, maxing out, cooling, and shooting some people outside of the school.
Well, I have 3 shout-outs for you. So this headline alone, Jared, is pretty crazy. So, bedridden for 11 years, man proves the experts wrong by inventing a surgery to cure himself. So, yeah. So, anyways,
Wow.
there's this gentleman.
It's impressive.
Let me find his name here. Well, the doctor that helped him was called named Dr. Coughlin, and the gentleman's name is Lindsay. I'm trying to find his last name here. Only says Lindsay. I'll let you know if I find it somewhere. But anyway, so what happened is that there's this thing called bilateral adrenal medullary hyperplasia, which is this disease basically where the region of the adrenal gland has grown enlarged and kind of acts like a tumor. And so what this will cause people, Jared, is it will basically cause them to be bedridden. They can't walk. It's really terrible. And now what's crazy, though, is there have only been 32 cases that have been diagnosed.
Lindsay is his name.
Thank you. And so Doug Lindsay was, his mother has this, and I believe his grandmother as well. And so basically what happened is that he realized that he had to drop out of medical school, undergrad to get his biology degree. And he called his mom and they knew. But what's crazy is he basically read up on all this and tried to do as much research as he could. And then he had help with the doctor and was able to get his disease cured. So I think this is really amazing.
Did the doctor perform his own surgery?
I believe the doctor performed the surgery.
Okay.
But he was the one that had been consulting with the doctor
Right.
to get this all figured out, which is pretty amazing.
Right.
So yeah, it's pretty amazing. And it took 18 months for Doug Lindsay to find a surgeon
Yeah.
to do the procedure.
That's not surprised. What doctor would be willing to do that? That seems a little risky for your career.
Right. But I mean, it's things like this, though, that granted, yes, you're taking a huge risk if they go wrong, but if they do go right, this can be a huge leap forward for the medical community. And what's crazy
but you're
about
taking
this,
that risk on a person, you know?
yeah, I mean, they've done tests on animals.
Wow, Chad.
Well, I mean, Jared, would you rather be bedridden for the rest of your life or take a chance and hope it works?
But that's the guy. That's not the doctor, though. I'm talking about the doctor.
Right.
The doctor. I understand why that guy would be looking so hard for people. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Shout out
Exactly.
to him.
Yeah. And so what's crazy is, the surgery, well, not what's crazy, but the surgery was a success. And what's crazy is, 3 weeks after the surgery, Doug Lindsay could sit up for 3 hours. And by the end of 3 months, he was able to walk a mile to attend church. He remained standing at the back of the midnight mass with so much to be thankful for. And then the second medulla, so the surgery basically, one medulla was extracted, and then the second was excised in 2012, which had completed the procedure. And Lindsay had actually invented this procedure, I guess, at home on his computer. And so unfortunately, though, Dr. Coughlin, who was the one that helped him with a lot of this, passed away in 2014. but he was able to witness the result of his service and belief in Doug Lindsay's ideas. So I think that's really amazing. And now what's really interesting is Doug Lindsay is now a medical consultant for rare diseases on The Simpsons. So that's kind of cool.
On The Simpsons?
Yeah. And in the article he mentioned he either wanted to become a doctor or maybe a writer or a consultant for The Simpsons and ended up doing that. So I think that's really great. And he has a really interesting TED Talk as well. If you check out this website called goodnewsnetwork.org, you should be able to find the article, and the TED Talk is linked down there. And it's just a really amazing story. And I'm really happy for him, and I think this will also help. It's a rare disease, but it will help those people that suffer under it. So thank you, Doug Lindsay, for all your hard work, and also thank the doctors at Alabama Birmingham for helping them out as well. So I think that's awesome. That's a great story. My next story, Jared, will either make college students happy or very angry, one or the other, because there is a community college now that has started to print their own textbooks, and students at this community college alone have saved more than $2.5 million. So the community college is, I believe it's called Chemikata Community College. They had began writing and printing their own textbooks in 2015. And so collectively they've published 33 textbooks. I'm assuming, well, I'll get there, don't worry.
Okay.
So right now they've collectively published 33 textbooks, and these textbooks cost less than $40 a piece. And so the company, I guess, or what you would call is the Chemikata Press textbooks, and these are created as a collaboration between the college teachers and the students through a rigorous revision process in order to ensure that the text covers all necessary information while still being able to be understood and devoid of a lot of common academic jargon. And once these textbooks are completed, teachers can then use the textbook as an example of their own published writing, and pupils can benefit from comprehensive course material that has been co-edited for students by students for students.
And that makes sense. Make the students do it, of course.
Right. Well, I mean, I think it's great though that these books are so much more affordable. The fact that they're trying to keep them at $40 or less, I think is fantastic. And there are so many students who struggle just to pay textbooks.
Impossible.
Right.
$40 or less. You're crazy.
And I love this quote right here. This quote, let's see here. So who is this guy? One second here. So the Chemikata Press managing editor, Brian Mosier, this is where this quote comes from. He says, "No book should be $300 unless it is rare or out of print or signed by Charles Dickens. There's no morality behind it." And I'd agree with him. I mean, why do you need to charge? There is no way, even these hardcover books that have all these fancy illustrations and everything, it doesn't cost them $300 to produce it. Why are they selling it for $300? Right.
They have to pay a lot of people to make those
students.
books.
It's terrible. So shout out to Chemikata Press and Chemikata Community College for making this available for students. And my last one, Jared, so I'm starting teaching today, and so I wanted to find a good teacher shout out, and I have a teacher shout out today for Karen Lowe, who is a teacher in Oklahoma, who I believe teaches, 7th and 8th grade kids. And she started this activity called the baggage activity, where students were able to write any problems or issues or baggage they've been dealing with anonymously on a slip of paper, and they put it in this big plastic bag, and then they would kind of shuffle it around, and then other students would pull out a slip of paper and read it. And if the student wanted to identify themselves, they could. And apparently a lot of students have been identifying themselves. And the reason why Karen Lowe did this was to establish that her classroom is a safe space for expression and respect. And basically that this has caused the students to become much closer together. And I think it's really great. It's a great idea.
Wow. Have you ever heard of something like this before?
I have not. No, this was completely new for me. I think it's really amazing. And I think the fact that, Karen had mentioned that this had made students not only closer but more respectful of one another. I think you're really able to see people in a different light when they're willing to share those things with you. But I think it's also great that they're able to do this anonymously. You know, if it's too traumatic and they don't want people to know, but they can still in a way get it off their chest, which I think is really amazing. And so lots of love and a big shout out to Karen Lowe of Oklahoma for having this activity for her students and making them feel safe and also respecting one another in the classroom, which is very, very important. So so those are my shout outs, Jared. But I think now it's time to get down to the meat and potatoes of this podcast, our namesake. And you do know what time it is, Jared.
Oh, I do, for sure. It's time for the untranslatables, which are idioms, sayings, proverbs, axioms that don't really make any sense if you translate them directly to English, but they have a meaning. Trust us.
Yep. And we are here to try to decipher those meanings for you, so you don't have to do all the hard brain work.
I've been digging one of our previous songs of the pod, the one that was sang by the lady from Cape Verde. Mm-hmm. And so this song is, this untranslatable is Cape Verdean Creole, which is I know it has Portuguese in it. That's all I got for you. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. And it's cascadente. Do you have any ideas of what that could mean?
Is casca house?
No.
No, okay.
Peel the teeth.
Dente is teeth. Okay, peel the teeth. Is this like when you work really hard?
No.
No. Peel the teeth. Is it when something tastes really terrible?
No.
No.
I'm going to give you a clue. Yes, I will.
Okay.
And you'll get it. Oh man, I like it. There's okay. Say you're it's gonna give it away. If you're taking a picture, and
does it mean to smile?
There you go.
Ooh,
Yeah.
all right.
What is the English untranslatable?
To peel the say cheese? I don't know.
Yeah, that's it. What do you mean?
Say cheese?
That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So Jared, I'm trying something new. I won't be doing this every episode. I'll try to have at least one every episode. But our listeners who remember my time in the Czech Republic, I had at least one Czech untranslatable of the pod. Well, I'm in China. I'm trying to learn Chinese. I need to work harder at it. Lately, I've been trying to prep for all my lessons and everything, but that's just excuses. Anyways, there's this really cool thing, though, and let me give you and the listeners, Jared, a little backdrop of this. So there's this thing here in China called, I believe it's called Chengyu. I may have said the tones wrong, so I apologize. But it is a traditional Chinese idiomatic expression which consists of only 4 characters. And so the cool thing about these idioms, the Chengyu, is that they kind of have a nice sound and a nice rhythm, and there's only 4 characters. And now the crazy thing is about these is that depending on how you define these, some people say there are about 5,000 of them in the Chinese language, although there are dictionaries that consist of only these Chengyu, and I believe that's closer to how you say it, that list over 20,000.
That was pretty different than the first time.
I should be able to find at least one per episode while I'm here in China. But what's interesting is these are parts of Chinese literature, but there are many of them that still play an important role as like idioms and phrases in conversational Chinese. So it's really, really cool. And so basically these idioms are one of 4 types of formulaic expressions, which include collocations, 2-part allegorical sayings, and also proverbs as well. So my first one for you, Jared, is Jiu Ni Yi Mao, which means 9 cows and 1 strand of cow hair.
Is it like kind of saying if everyone jumped off a cliff, would you too? Everyone's the same?
Nope. 9 cows and 1 strand of cow hair. So think about this, Jared. So you have your 9 cows.
Everyone's broke. You're freezing, so you're like, okay.
Nope. I mean, our English untranslatable has to do with a bucket. Not kick the bucket, though. Not kick the bucket. We would say it's just a bucket.
Just a rust bucket? I don't know. I have no idea.
Let me try to give you a better example. So you have your 9 cows, right?
Right.
In theory, lots of cows have a lot of hair, right?
Yes.
But if you have 9 cows and it's only 1 hair, it's very
cold.
This isn't about heat. It's very insignificant. It's a drop in the bucket.
Okay.
Is our English untranslatable? A drop in the bucket.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's just a tiny piece. It's just a drop in the bucket.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Wow. I'm sorry. That was bad.
You're good. You're good.
My next one is Estonian. And it's Tühi kot I sisa pusti. And it means an empty bag won't stand.
Empty. An empty bag won't stand. It's like, is this kind of like is this about people?
Not really, no.
Not really. Well, it's like something has to have content, right? It can't just be, like nothing doesn't come from nothing. There's got to be something there. No?
Nah.
Okay.
You might hear this if you're, say, visiting your grandmother or home for the holidays.
Empty. Oh, so like you gotta eat up.
There you go. Okay.
Okay.
I have allergies right now, and you get that itchy throat. You know that itchy throat?
Oh, that's terrible. Yep.
I hate it.
Take some antihistamines, my man.
Yeah.
Antihistamines.
Maybe I'll get crazy and take some Benadryl. See where the night takes me.
There you go. Go crazy.
Pink Floyd.
There you go.
And go to sleep.
Right. My next one is also a Chengyu, and it is Bantu Erfei, which means, let me find it here. It means to walk half of the road and give up.
Walk half of the road and give up. Mm-hmm. Is it just not give your 100%, not give your all?
Mm-hmm. Judges are shaking their head. We'll give it to you. Yeah. It's basically like
not
giving up halfway or
right.
not completing something. I would say our English untranslatable would be like don't half-ass something.
Right. Okay.
But that's a little different, I would say, as well. Because I think half-assing it, you still complete the task, you didn't give it your all. Whereas I think this one is more you start it, and then you start it, but you give up halfway.
Okay. All right, maybe.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Mm-hmm. My last one is Brazilian Portuguese, as you would say. And it is, why do I keep doing this to myself?
What?
Oh, I forgot to write down the actual, oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot to write down the actual.
Let me give you mine, and you can research it while you're doing that. How about that?
Okay, maybe I can. If I'm that good. Go ahead.
So my last Chengyu for today is Pao Zuan Yin Yu, which means, let me see here, to cast a brick to attract jade. Is what it literally means.
To cast a brick to attract jade. Mm-hmm. Is that like to be like completely unprepared or out of your element?
Not really. I would say you would say this phrase, Jared, when you are brainstorming stuff.
Brainstorming stuff. Oh, it's just you're just like throwing out like you have no idea. You're just sort of like throwing out ideas, random ideas.
There we go. Very good.
Yes.
Yeah. Throwing out ideas or tossing out ideas. Yeah.
We have an English untranslatable like that. I just can't think of what it would be. You have nothing for me there? Is that what that was?
No.
Okay.
Well, I would say we're just tossing out an idea.
Oh,
what we'd say.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we have more of an untranslatable than that. But anyway, I found it. All right, everyone relax.
You're a pro.
And it's Brazilian Portuguese. And
Português.
It's fazer algo de gato e sapato.
Okay. Is something about a foot?
No, sapato is not foot.
Is that Saturday?
Sapato, no, that's sábado. I guess that's sábado in Spanish, though. I don't know what Portuguese is.
What is it?
I don't really know Spanish. To make someone a cat and shoe.
Yeah, so foot. I said foot. I meant shoe.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure
Gotcha.
you did, Chad. Sure.
Mama hoo hoo.
Can you give it to me one more time, the English translation?
To make someone a cat and shoe.
So is that like to Oh, I don't know. Is that
and shoe.
is that like to give somebody everything? Giving them everything under the sun? Everything but the kitchen sink? No?
I gave you everything but my kitchen sink. No, that's not it, but I like that. I'm going to use that on, I don't know when. Hopefully I never have to use that.
What? Can you give me a clue?
Yeah, so you might say that you don't like someone anymore because they made a cat and shoe of you.
To
And
make
it's like, oh,
to make a fool of somebody?
I'll give you that. Yeah, but it means like to not play with someone's emotions or humiliate them. So yeah, making a fool of someone, humiliating. I say that's the same thing.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty close. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, we are here. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say the same thing. You are there in Jinan, China. That's all I was gonna say.
Via Detroit, then Beijing, now here to Jinan. And let me tell you, man, I've been here now officially a week, and the jet lag is getting. Got here.
Wow.
Actually, I guess technically over a week because I arrived on a Monday, and it is now Tuesday here in China. So
wow.
So over a week.
And you, I believe I heard you mentioning that you start work today. I mean, forget time. We're like for anyone that's listening, you haven't started work yet, but you will in a few hours, essentially.
Right. Yes, this afternoon.
Mm-hmm. How you feeling?
I'm very excited. Very excited to meet the students and teach. I'm going to be teaching a class on English teaching methodology. So what I love to talk about, which is being a teacher. So it will be a lot of fun.
Did you scope out your route to work, school?
Oh yeah, I did. Now the crazy thing is,
what's the commute?
So the crazy thing is, Jared, is that I don't know what the right term to call this is. I would say maybe neighborhood. I mean, I guess you could kind of call it an apartment complex, but it's huge. When I say huge, I mean like there is building after building after building. And what I've noticed here in China,
of all just apartment, you mean?
Yeah, apartments. And they all look the same, right? They all look the same. And the thing that I've learned here is that in Chinese art and architecture, they really appreciate symmetry because symmetry symbolizes harmony. And so they want symmetrical buildings. And so what this means, though, is it's very easy to get lost because you'll think you're going into one building, but you're going into a different building.
So wait, actually walking into the wrong building?
I haven't yet because there's a couple landmarks that I have purposefully, my first day here, I was like, okay, that's what this rock looks like on my street. There's this fountain on the road from my apartment.
It comes down to that, though. Like, I've been there before. I understand it.
Yep. And so you asked about my commute to work. So right now, it's about a 20 to 25-minute walk. Eventually, once I get my bank account here and everything set up, I'm hoping to get a bike share app and then just bike there, and then it'll be really quick, 5 minutes.
Oh, nice. Nice.
But it's a nice walk. It's down one of the main. So there's kind of two
hot
ways.
and humid there, isn't it?
It is right now. It is definitely. And so my walk though it's not too bad. There's kind of two ways I can go. I prefer to leave out of the west. It's called the west gate of my apartment complex. There's a north, south, east, and west gate. I still don't know where the north and the south gates are yet. I need to explore my apartment complex more. I know where the east and the west gates are. But the funny thing is, the east gate in theory is closer to the university campus, but where my building is located on the campus is a far enough walk. The campus is huge. And it's a far enough walk where really it's about the same time if I leave on the west gate and come in the north gate of my university. They have gates everywhere here in China for the university campuses, for the apartment complexes, for the shopping centers, everything like this.
Why is that?
I think it's just their architecture and how it's set up.
Okay.
But I
don't know.
Symmetry? Could be. But anyways, and so the crazy thing is it's about a mile walk on to my building either way. Even if I cut through my apartment complex where it would be shorter in theory, I'm coming in a different gate at the university, so it takes just as long. So I usually take the west gate because to me it's more familiar. This apartment complex, it feels like a maze when you try to walk through it. But the commute's not too bad. The campus is beautiful. It's very new. A lot of it was built, I think, maybe 5 to 10 years ago. So it's very, very new. And the crazy thing is, Jared, where the teachers' lounges are, in the States, we usually have like an ID card, and you put that ID card in front and the door will open.
Yeah.
Here in
Your
China,
phone.
no, well, that's a great guess, but actually they have this little thing and you put your fingerprint on and it scans your fingerprint and then the door unlocks. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I mean, they already have my fingerprints anyways because
That's
you have
true.
to give your fingerprints when you do your
It's a good point.
visa when you come
That's a
in.
good point.
So
That's
yeah.
fancy.
But it's
I
really
wouldn't
cool.
trust that. Like, it's got to work better than like our iPhones, where sometimes if your finger is like a little sweaty, you got to
Right.
like rub it on your shirt first.
Well, but a colleague of mine told me that in the winter, sometimes the machines have some difficulty because if your hands are really dry, it has trouble reading your fingerprints.
See, I'm black, so I lotion regularly.
Right. I do
But,
not. I'll need to do that come winter.
Does it work where if you like go over it, it'll like show up the last fingerprint before?
I haven't
open up?
tried. Haven't tried. Probably
I've
not.
seen
though.
that in the spy movies.
Right. But
So,
yeah, so it's a beautiful campus. Go ahead.
No, please, please.
But what I wanted to talk about a little bit is just some of my observations, because when we initially did the first episode of me here in China, I'd only been in Beijing a couple days. I was super jet lagged. I think I've been told
And
by
you're
a couple.
super sheltered too. Like you were
Right.
kind of getting driven around from place to place.
Right. And I've been told now, which was a nice compliment from a few of my Chinese colleagues, and I'm a very keen observer because I've asked them a couple questions, and I've even stumped them on a couple questions, which I was surprised. But anyways, so what I've noticed, though, is since Beijing and Jinan are obviously very, very different. I mean, Beijing is the capital city. Jinan is the capital city of my province. But the thing is, Jared, I don't live downtown in Jinan. I live about 40 minutes away by
But
bus.
still in Jinan.
Well, yes. So there are 10 provincial districts in Jinan, or like neighborhoods, and I'm in what they call Changqing. And Changqing is further out. It's in the southwestern part of Jinan. It's super beautiful. There's more nature here. I can see the mountains once again from my apartment, just like in the Czech Republic. So I love that. I'm super high up. I'm on the 17th floor.
I was just about to ask.
Yep, 17th floor. My apartment is beautiful. Honestly, it's too big for one person, but I'm okay with it.
What's your apartment like? What's your kitchen like, for example?
Kitchen is great. I have a toaster oven, a microwave, a gas stove, and then because Chinese people love to fry foods and they use a lot of oils, I have this really nice fan over top of my stove with the 2 burners, and I have a
Nice.
fridge. And the university has provided everything so far, which has been great. The only utensils I bought a fruit peeler because you're supposed to peel fruits that you buy here. You wash them and then you peel them just because there could be pesticides and other contaminants on the fruit. So you
Sure.
should peel them. But yeah, so it's great though, man. And I'm about a half a mile walking distance from like a big, like one of the malls, and then about 7th or 8th of a mile away from another big shopping mall. And so let me tell you, Jared, on Sunday night, I decided I ponied up and I was like, all right, I need to get groceries. I'm going to the grocery store.
Yes.
And I tell you what, man, what you realize when you live in a foreign country, especially a place where you've never been before, even the simplest of tasks can be very daunting physically and mentally. And I have to really be in the right headspace to do them. So I was like, all right, I'm really tired and I'm hungry, but I need to go to the grocery store. So I went to the grocery store, and that's when it really hit me, man. Like, I'm here and I'm doing this. Like, because I walk in the
You're on
grocery
your own
store.
now.
Right. And first of all, I, like an idiot, I went in. The mall is pretty big, and there's kind of 2 different entrances. I went in one entrance, and I ended up going in the wrong.
There's a grocery store within the mall.
Yeah, there's a grocery store,
okay.
clothing store, all sorts of stuff.
Okay.
And so the funny thing is, though, is that so I walk in and I'm walking around. I'm like, oh, there's a grocery store. And I see like the cash registers and stuff. And I'm like, I don't see the entrance. So I walked in the exit, got a couple weird looks from people to start out with. and then walked around quite a bit. And then I realized, like, I don't know what half of this stuff is. Like, you know, because if there aren't good pictures on it, I have no idea what it is. You know, because I can't read the Chinese characters. And I've tried to use the app I would use on my phone in the Czech Republic to translate. Dude, half the time it doesn't work. So there's so much stuff that I would love to try, but I have no idea what it is.
So what did you end up buying?
So I bought, what did I end up buying? I bought some bananas, because that's pretty safe. Bought some bananas,
You can recognize those.
Right. Bought these really tasty. My goal is when I go to the grocery store.
I bet you there's a lot of great treats, like candy and treats.
Oh yeah. And the thing is, my goal while I'm here, Jared, is to. Oh, that'd be a good idea. That'd be kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. Every now and again, some candy reviews.
That's a good idea.
Chad has never had a cavity, by the way, everyone.
I haven't. 27 years of age. Yeah. But anyways, the funny thing is that I'm going to try to be a lot more adventurous here. I mean, I think by fault you have to be a little bit, unless you want to spend a lot of money and only eat Western food here, which I wouldn't suggest, because Chinese food is amazing here. It's, you know, it's 1 billion times better than Chinese food in the States. It's more flavorful. It's more fresh.
I feel like they're probably not even the same thing.
Not really.
Is there access to Western food, quote unquote?
Yes, but before
what are
I
some examples of? Okay.
Before I talk about that, though, back to the grocery store, because I want to talk about this for a bit.
Yes, I'm sorry.
So
I've got so many questions.
You're good. You're good. And so, anyway, so the grocery store, my goal is to try something new every time I go there.
Okay.
Whether it be a snack, something else.
So you got bananas, you said?
Got bananas, got these really good pretzel sticks with like melted chocolate on the top. I think they're called Pokies.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They have those here.
Do they really? Okay.
I mean, they're not popular, but you can find them rather easily in the U.S., yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I knew, they're pretzel sticks and they have chocolate. And I got one with chocolate and one with strawberry flavored chocolate. And that was really, really good as well.
Okay.
What else? I bought some apples. I'm still on the fence about buying meat, just because I thought about buying frozen meat and then like popping in the freezer, like chicken breast. They don't really have a ton of that here. The frozen meat that I've seen so far has been beef. I prefer to eat more chicken than beef. So I may go to the deli. I mean, the deli, it seems like it's okay. Like from what I've been told, if you can tell that they keep it at a cool temperature and there's
a thermometer.
And there's no flies around it, usually it's okay. But some places, you know, you will see flies and stuff. But the crazy thing, and this is where the culture shock really set in, was not only seeing so much food that I had no idea what it was, but also seeing live fish and seafood. So obviously in the States, we have, you know, live lobster at some grocery stores, but they have everything, dude. They have crab, they have lobster, they have these giant bullfrogs. They're huge, dude. They're like, they're huge. And the funny thing is they're like, their heads pop out of the water and then their body is all the way down in the tank, and they're still alive. And the reason why they still have all this live seafood is that's how you know it's fresh. And there's some Chinese dishes where you eat, I believe it's either shrimp or prawn, you eat alive. You literally eat it alive. Because that's how you know it's super duper fresh.
I think I've seen, I don't know if it's alive, but I've seen that happen with some sort of like octopus or squid-like thing where it's still like moving around.
I think that's and I think that's in Japan, and I think that's when.
I'm sorry, I just saw this on social media.
You're good, and with that octopus that moves around, it's because they use some type of vinegar or oil that causes
so it's not
the tentacles.
alive.
Right, but it causes the tentacles. It causes a reaction to make them move still. But then I also saw turtles, dude. When I saw the turtles, I'm not gonna lie, it made me wanted to cry a little bit. I love turtles, have loved turtles since a little kid. But the thing is, like, you just have to accept it's a different country, it's a different culture, and you know, they eat it. So, and that's totally fine. If it's in their cuisine, they can eat it. I'm probably not going to try turtle. I think there are certain foods that for me are off limits. And turtles, I don't like seafood in general. But that's the other funny thing, Jared.
Is that seafood? With that kind of seafood?
I think so. I mean, it's in the seafood area, the seafood section. But the funny thing that I've noticed so far too, Jared, is that I sat in on a really fascinating class on Friday, a class about Chinese culture. And it was all about Chinese cuisine and, you know, why certain cuisines are this way and in other parts of China. And the funny thing was, though, is that I've talked to the teacher a little bit, and she knows I don't like seafood. And the funny thing is, a lot of Chinese people, I think they're very open to eating many different types of foods, whether it's seafood, it's poultry, it's beef, whatever. And when I tell Chinese people I don't like seafood, they always ask me, which I find funny, is they always ask me why. And it's like, what do you want me to tell you? I don't like the taste. I don't like the flavor.
Question.
I don't like the smell.
Good question.
But it's hard to answer. It's like, why don't you like something that's like a taste or an opinion? And it's just kind of like, well, that's just
But
how
I think
it is.
being able to say something like that is in itself kind of like a luxury, you know?
Right.
Like just to be like, oh,
that's
no,
true.
I don't eat that. It's like, what do you mean you don't eat that?
Right. And then usually the response I'll get is when I say why and then I explain it, they'll say, oh, but it's delicious. And I'm like, well, I'm sure you find it very delicious, but it's just not what my taste buds enjoy, I guess. But there's tons of seafood. And the other crazy thing too, Jared, is a lot of chips and snacks are shrimp flavored.
Oh, yeah.
So there's Cheetos here that are shrimp flavored.
Interesting. I know they have like Lay's-esque things that are...
So half of the Lays, I'm glad you mentioned that. Half of the Lays that you see, they have one of them that's on the, and it has the Chinese characters, but it has it in English underneath it. And one of them is Italian red meat flavor. I tried the roasted chicken wing flavor. It was actually kind of good.
I believe that.
They had what other ones? They have a cucumber flavor. They have a shrimp flavor. Then the other day, I also got the classic American flavor, which is just...
I know they have like a lamb something.
Yep.
I've seen that before.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, they have also... It's just really fascinating to see all the different foods in the grocery store, and I'm really looking forward to spending more time. Now I've been there a couple times, so I'm acquainted with what I can get where. But I tell you what, buddy, I got hustled the other day when I was in the produce section. So I was in the produce section buying my apples, and... this woman comes up to me, and they have all these shop assistants and helpers. So the nice thing is if I need to find something, like I need a laundry detergent to do my wash, and so I went up to this woman and held up my phone with the translation of laundry detergent, and she showed me where it was. But the funny thing is that the shop assistants are very persistent on trying to, they'll tell you like, oh no, this one's the best. And they like try to tell you like, she pointed at this one thing and like said all this stuff in Chinese, and I just kind of gave her a blank stare, and I'm like, I don't know what you're saying, but okay. And so she pointed at this laundry detergent to get it. And the interesting thing is you would think, Jared, that they would be pointing to the more expensive one, right? But she actually showed me the cheaper one. Huh. So I think for them, they look at it as this is your best bang for your buck. This is your best deal, our best value that you can get. Because Chinese people...
they were being honest.
Yeah.
Not honest, but they were like, there was like a good piece of consumer advice. They said you got hustled or swindled or something.
Well, sorry. So I got off track. So they have shop assistants.
I was like, that sounds very helpful.
Right. No, so I got swindled in the produce section. Or not swindled, but I just wasn't. You have to be very assertive, I would say here, especially as a foreigner in China. And so what happened was... I walked by and I had my apples in my bag, and she stops me, and she had these little fruits. I still don't know what they're called, don't know what they are. She holds one up and she says, very good. And she hands it to me and she goes like that, like mouthing, like to bite it. And so we had been warned, one, you need to be very careful of, I'm too paranoid as it is anyways, because, it's my first time here and I don't know what to expect. And I'm generally can be a paranoid person in general once in a while.
Not you. Nope.
But anyway, so she hands me this thing, and I realize it's been washed, but it's like, what water did they use? Is it sanitary to eat? Like, we've been told that you should rinse your vegetables with, I think it's like 2 parts water. I don't remember the ratio, but water and vinegar to get the pesticides and stuff off of it and the bacteria. And she hands it to me and she goes, bite it. And I'm like, here we go. So I bit into it. It was good. Haven't died yet.
Slipping on gator piss.
Haven't died yet, Jared. And but it was good. And so I was like, yeah, it's good. So she grabs a bag and she just starts putting all these in a bag. I have this bag full of them now at my apartment.
Chad got already.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bound to happen.
Yep.
It's weird that the people at the grocery store are upselling you. They're just employees, right? They don't own the place.
Right. But part of it was my fault. Like I said, I wasn't assertive enough. Like, she kept putting them in. I should have told her stop. I tried to tell her stop, but I was like, and she just kept going. I was like, okay, that's enough.
I get that.
Right. But it's been quite an experience just walking around the grocery store and seeing what they sell. They have frozen pizzas, and the frozen pizzas have like what are like frozen mixed vegetables. So like peas, carrots, and corn on the pizza. So that's kind of interesting. Another one is a mushroom tuna pizza. Kind of interesting.
Slipping on gator piss.
But I will tell you, buddy, my skills with chopsticks are getting better. What I noticed, though, what happens is the beginning of the meal, it's great, it's fine, and then my hand will start to get tired.
Dude, yeah.
And then I resort to the spoon.
Yeah.
But it's getting there.
I had ramen today, actually, and I can use chopsticks, but I'm terrible at them, and my hand got tired, too. But I keep it up just because I want to look cool, you know?
There you go.
But
nice.
That's cool. Okay, so you've been there for a week. It's crazy to me. I guess I knew that, but it never really crossed my mind. So how long have you been in Jinan?
I got here on Wednesday, so tomorrow will be a week.
Oh,
in Jinan.
Oh, crazy. What have you been eating?
So let's see here. So the first really cool cultural experience that I had was a couple of my students took me out to what they call hot pot. And are you familiar with hot pot at all, Jared?
No.
So what it is
how did you meet your students?
I was put into contact with them by another teacher, and they actually came to my apartment my first night here and dropped off a couple things like hangers and some other stuff from my apartment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so they've been super helpful. So late shout out to a couple of my students for being so helpful. It's been great.
I'm looking at hot pot though.
So what it is, Jared, is I'll explain it to our listeners. So what it is it's this big table, and then there's this, cooker in the middle of the table, like a divot, a hole within the table, and that's where they bring out this pot, and you can choose your broths. Usually there's a spicy one. The spicy one is why they call it hot pot, I think, or it could be because it boils. Either way. So there's usually 3, sometimes 4 different sections of the hot pot. And so there's like a spicy one with peppers. There's another one. The ones we had were mushroom, like a mushroom broth, a tomato broth, which was delicious. The mushroom and tomato were great. And then the spicier one. And so the way it works is they turn it on, and then it starts to boil. And then you they have like different kinds of meats you can order, and they're cut really thin. So they're really thin slices of lamb or beef or whatever. And then you put it in and you let it cook, and then you take it out and you eat it. So it's very fresh. It's very tasty.
Kind of like a fondue almost.
In a way, yeah. In a way. And
this seems a little more intricate.
Right. And then the thing, though, that once again, like every time I go out to eat here, I'm always like, is this going to be okay? Is this going to be all right? So far, knock on wood, everything's been fine. No stomach issues, nothing. But the thing is with hot pot is you put the food in with your chopsticks, and you pull the food out with your chopsticks.
Right.
Now, granted, you're putting it in boiling broth, so I'm assuming it probably kills all the germs and bacteria, but I'm not a medical doctor, so I'm not sure.
Don't ask me.
Right.
Jared said I was going to be okay.
Right. Do the toilet dance for a day. And Jared, come on. But that was delicious. But there were a couple foods that I didn't try. And that was my first night in Jinan. So I was also pretty tired from the travel and everything. And it's just overwhelming when you're in a new place like this. And you got to pay very close attention to where you're going and everything. And that night I also didn't have internet at all. So I was completely cut off. So if I were to get lost, no way to use my translating app, nothing. So anyways, so we went out there, and there were a couple of foods I didn't try. One of them was duck small intestines. Didn't try that one.
Okay.
And then another one I think was like stomach lining of something, but it was weird. It looked like it was kind of this like brownish color. What?
Like a sponge, maybe?
No, so it was like a brownish color, and then it had these like grooves on it, kind of like a cat's tongue. That kind of stick up. And
I don't know what a cat's tongue looks like. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Okay, fair enough. Well, but it had these like little spikes on it almost.
Okay.
And I don't know what they were, but I asked the students what it was, and they said there's really no good translation. I was like, that just does not look appetizing to me, so I'm not going to try it.
I think they call that. Okay, keep going. Sorry, don't even worry about it.
Yeah, but it was good. Once again, though, during the beginning, it was fine with chopsticks, and then it took a little while, and then I had to use the spoon. But it was delicious, really fresh, really good, so I enjoyed that. And it was really funny when we got there. The students were kind of explaining to me because there are different ways to hold chopsticks. And I've seen a lot of people in China hold chopsticks differently than the way they tell you to hold them on the, like, in the States when you get chopsticks, there's like 3-step instructions on how to use them, right?
Of course, yes.
And I've seen a lot of Chinese people use them differently, where it's kind of like they almost make an X and they cross and then they use that. And with that, you can pick up, I think, smaller foods doing that. But the funny thing was I was trying to use the chopsticks and the students were explaining to me how to use them. And this guy kind of saw, and he came and sat to the table next to us and started speaking English with me. And so he was like, "Oh, very good." And he was, trying to encourage me to use the chopsticks. And he was trying to get me to, drink some beers with him. And I was with my students. I was really tired. And I'm like, "Thank you, but, I'm just going to drink like water tonight. No beer for me." And he was telling me like, Chinese drink beer fast. Like, like it's good to drink beer fast. I'm like, no, like you got to drink it slow and enjoy it. Coming from the Czech Republic and Germany and Austria, they tend to not drink it super fast.
That's not what I saw in the Czech Republic. That's all I did not see it.
Well, you weren't hanging out with a bunch of Czech people though.
What do you mean?
You were hanging out with Don and I.
Oh, I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about like when we were. It seemed like everyone around drinks pretty quickly. Like maybe they're not like chugging it down, but they seem to have a pretty good pace.
That's fair.
Like they can drink
right.
a pint of beer pretty quickly.
Right. I guess you're right. You're right. But yeah, what other questions do you have for me, buddy?
Oh, so that's what you ate the one. Like, have you done like wandering? Have you been wandering around or anything?
Yeah. Well, basically the most wandering, I'll walk about a mile radius of my apartment just because it's a long walk. Because it's a long walk and it takes a while to get back home. And plus trying to cross the streets here are fairly large. And not only do you have like traffic from cars, you have bikes, you have mopeds.
Chad's never going to stay out later than 8 o'clock. He's afraid to cross the streets. This move has turned you into like a 6-year-old.
Well, I feel like a child because of the language barrier. Seriously, I feel like a child. Like basic stuff you can usually get done. Like I couldn't even get my washing machine to work or my tea kettle to work. And I realized and this is the funny thing, on some of my electric outlets, there's a small switch at the top that you have to turn on so the electrical outlet works. All the other ones I've used that are lower down on the walls don't have this. So I'm sitting there and I'm trying to push all these buttons on my tea kettle and it's not turning on. And I'm like, what the heck? And then my washing machine, same thing. I like hit the power. And then so I looked at the outlet and I'm like, what's this little thing in the corner? And I pushed it and then it was like it clicked and then it turned on.
Have you experienced any technological conveniences? They're like, oh, why don't we do this since you've been there?
Well, not yet because I don't have my bank account and my like stuff to pay online set up. Right. But just they use their phones for everything here. Like you use an app to order your food at the restaurant. You use if you want to go to a
if you're sitting at the restaurant,
right? And they'll bring you food. You use it to pay for your cabs and your Didi, which is like a Chinese Uber here.
I mean, we do that too.
Right. Well, yeah, for Uber, yeah. But I mean, they actually use, it's not the same. Like ours, it automatically draws from their account, right? Here, you hold up a QR code on your phone that's connected to your bank account and they scan it. So that's,
interesting.
in that way, it's a little different. And the thing is, because they use WeChat for everything here, there's QR codes everywhere to scan stuff, whether it's to buy stuff, to get information. So like literally, dude, you see QR codes everywhere. Like I have a couple boxes that are like, I had to set up my drying rack the other day.
So for the grocery store, do you have to use QR codes?
You can, but you don't have to. And I've been paying with cash because I don't have any of that stuff set up yet. I'll get my bank account set up.
Do people look at you weird?
So I was hanging out with a girl from South Africa yesterday, and I was showing her around my area, and ended up we walked by and there's a Dairy Queen, and she saw it and she's like, "Oh my God, like I haven't had Dairy Queen forever. Can we go?" So I'm like, "Sure." So we went, and me trying to be a gentleman, I paid for the ice cream, and so
brilliant.
So, but all I had were hundreds. Like I had hundreds, and then I had. But then the funny thing was, it was 44 kwai or 44 yuan here. Let me look at what the
I'm gonna guess
exchange rate is for you. I think it's probably $4 or $5, but let me see here. Oh, it is $6. $6 for 2 ice creams, which isn't too bad. But But so it was 44 RMB, and I first gave her 100, and she had this look of like, oh crap, really? And then she opens the cash register, and it was almost empty. So thankfully, I had literally 44 kwai in ones, fives, and tens. So I basically gave her all my small denominations. She was super happy, and she gave me back my 100 RMB. But that's the thing, man. Like, but the problem is you get so dependent on your phone. If your phone dies, you're screwed.
Right.
So
yeah.
I'm even once I get everything set up, I'm still going to keep 100 RMB on me for like emergencies.
So you're not gonna carry around a charger with you?
Oh, I have this beautiful bag from my university that I've been using, and that has my portable battery, my power bank, that has a couple pens and pencils. I keep a copy of my passport on me. I don't have my passport right now because it's in the office, so I can get my residency permit. So you have to keep a copy of your passport just so you have ID. And so I've been carrying that around. I think after we finish with the podcast, though, I brought like a cheap foldable backpack, which is good for like small day trips or something, but it's not great if you need to like carry a laptop or something heavy in because it's a really thin material. So I can buy a really nice backpack here. You know those like Swiss gear backpacks in the States, Jared, that have the little Swiss symbol on them?
Yeah.
They have them here. They might be knockoffs, I'm not sure, but they're only like
Chinese
$13. It's actually called, I think it's called Soldier Gear or something like that, but it has this little same symbol.
Probably knockoffs.
Right, but they look like they're decent quality, so I might pick one up today.
Yeah, they might be.
Before I start teaching. That's the thing, though. You can get very good quality stuff here, very affordably, and that's another thing I've noticed. And the produce and stuff is really fresh. I can't speak for the meat in the deli, but I know the seafood is obviously incredibly fresh because it's still alive. But yeah, it's been great, though, being in Jinan. It's a wonderful city. Also, I have to say, at first I was really worried that I would be so far away from the other foreign teachers because the foreign teachers at my university actually live in a hotel, and they all live together, but that's in the downtown campus. So we have two campuses. We have a downtown, and we have one out in the southern west in the part of Chongqing here in Jinan. And at first I was really worried. I was like, I'm going to feel very isolated. I'm so far away from everything, but with these like different shopping malls near me, and like the students are really nice and they're very helpful. And I think they also view it as a good opportunity for them to improve their English and practice their English with a native speaker.
So they're excited to talk to you.
They are. And so I think it'll be great here.
Do they also kind of see you similar to like how your Czech students saw you, almost as like a teacher celebrity? It's like, oh, we got an American on campus, kind of.
Definitely, because when I sat in on the class on Friday, you know, I was obviously the only Westerner in the class, and I walked in and everyone was talking. It was so funny. I walked in, everyone was talking, and then they just stopped and looked at me, like, "Who is this guy? What is he doing here?" And so I like walked to the back because I didn't want to draw too much attention, and I want the students to focus on the class, not on me. And the teacher told me, like,
guys, please.
Well, the funny thing is the teacher had told me that the students will be very curious and they might lose their focus on the lesson a little bit because you're there, like wondering who is he, why is he here? So she introduced me at the beginning of the class. And then, but it was interesting sitting in on that class. And when I'm not traveling on Fridays, I hope to go to her class because I think I'll learn a lot about Chinese culture. And it's just really interesting and fun. So that was really cool. But yeah, I feel like for a lot of the students too, I'm the first younger American because the other foreign teachers we have here that are from the States are on a program with BYU, and I think most of them are 40 or older. So me being 27, you know, I'll be teaching juniors, so I think a lot of them are probably 20 or 21. So they're a little bit closer, obviously, to me in age than a 40-year-old. So, and I'm sure they'll be curious about a lot of things American related. So I'm excited to kind of be an ambassador again of the United States.
Yeah. So speaking of which, how has the staring been? What's that been like?
So the thing that I really like is and probably now I really like it, I'm sure, and ask me in 6 or 7 months, it might get old, but I really like, it's so cute when children stare because they stare at you. And I'm sure for some kids, I'm the first Westerner they've probably ever seen in their life. And so they'll stare, and a lot of times I'll wave at them and I'll smile at them, and they lose it. They go crazy. Like they have this big grin on their face. They're super happy. It's really adorable. Okay. What does wig me out a little bit though is the blank stare of, I've gotten a lot of stares from like older Chinese guys where they'll just straight up just like have kind of a scowl on my face and just stare at me. And they're like, and I have no idea what they're thinking. They're probably like, who is this guy? What is he doing? You know, is he a spy? Who knows? I'm just a teacher. Don't worry, people. I'm here to help. Don't worry. But yeah, so that's been a little unsettling.
But hey, that's up to you.
I might have to use that in my lesson today. Oh, that's really funny.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can understand that being a little weird. And it's like, sometimes you get the urge to like, well, at least I would get the urge to like stare back.
Oh,
but
I
it's
do.
like, well, oh, do you? Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you're like confronting them, or like it's gonna be too confrontational at some point?
I don't
or
think
it gets
so.
a little heated, or it's like you start like doing that fake little like jerk at them thing.
I'm not gonna do that. That's. I think they're just genuinely curious.
What?
Right. No, the thing that I'm probably gonna start to do is just greet
sunglasses.
them. You know, just say ni hao. Well, that's the other funny thing though. When I wear sunglasses, I get less stares, and I think it's because of my blue eyes. So when I wear sunglasses, I think they'll look at me and they'll realize like, oh, I'm sure the beard doesn't help as well, because not many Chinese guys have beards, and so. But then when I take off the shades, that's when people really start to look.
Must be nice, Chad, to have people just look longingly in your face.
The funny thing is, right? The funny thing is though, is I've come across a couple foreigners here, a couple Westerners. Well, I don't know if they're Westerners or what, but there was a black dude actually in my apartment complex. And we both kind of gave each other a nod, like "What's up?" So that was kind of cool. I love that.
Got a little soul brother nod. He knows what it's like just for a hot sec to be part of an elite force of blacks. I mean, I could totally understand that. You know, it's like you can. What is it when you're like like sharing like not negativity, but like you're like sharing in like a tough experience essentially.
Commiserating?
Like, yes, thank you. Yes, it's like a tiny bit of like commiserating.
Right.
Just like I understand the struggle, but that's cool. And it's like it's nice to see someone like that was probably an American person. Seems like wouldn't you think?
Could have been African because they do have Africans here too.
That's true.
But yeah, the funny thing is though too, Jared. So let me just give you a quick, very very brief overview of like since I got in Jinan, because Beijing it was an orientation, a lot of information, but here once I really felt like I got here once I got to Jinan. So I was picked up by my foreign affairs officer at my university, taken to my apartment. They were still actually putting some stuff together in my apartment. I have like an air conditioning unit. I have a nice TV. I have a desk. I have a 2-bedroom apartment. It's really nice. And so they were putting it together, and then I had to go register with the police. So I went and registered my address with the police, and they scanned my passport and everything. Then we went to a small grocery store. I got some water and some toilet paper and some other necessities. Then after that, I came back, and what did we do after that? And then after that, I think I just came back and relaxed. But it was kind of funny because I didn't have internet my first day here, and I didn't have a SIM card in my phone, like a Chinese SIM card. So I was really hoping to talk
fully
to my
off
parents.
The grid.
I was, and that's when I really felt quite isolated. But I told myself it's only for a day; it's not a big deal.
Yes.
I was more disappointed just because I didn't want my parents to worry, because I told them, I should have Wi-Fi at my apartment. I'll talk to you guys on Wednesday, and then Wednesday came around.
Too, Chad, just so you know.
I'm sure you did. I appreciate it, buddy. But yeah, so then I got my Chinese SIM card, and had like 150 notifications on my WeChat because I'm in a couple different like teacher groups and stuff here.
Have you had anyone ask you for your WeChat yet in public?
No random people have asked me yet, but I'm sure it'll happen. I have had a couple people like not very coy, like pull out their phones and snap a picture of me when I'm walking down the street. That's happened a couple times.
That's rough. Have you tried quote unquote going out at all, going to a bar or anything?
So I went and had a couple beers with this really awesome South African girl yesterday at this place called
that you keep talking about?
Beer Kingdom. her name's Danielle, and I met her through there's a group online for expats in Jinan.
Okay.
So I saw her there, and we just started messaging, and and we went to this really cool restaurant called Hippie Food, and it was a more Western style place. We got burgers; they were delicious. They had quesadillas,
Hippies
they
love
had sandwiches. What? Hippie. That's right. And the burger I got was called the Hippie Burger, right? Right. You'd think it'd be like vegan or vegetarian, but yeah. And I think while I'm here, I'll probably eat fast food, at least in the States. When I was there over the summer, the only fast food I really ate was like A&W. I think I had Taco Bell once, and I had Wendy's once because I had to try those spicy nuggets by Wendy's, and they were pretty good.
Yes.
But here I'm definitely planning on at least eating Western food or fast food probably a couple times a week, because otherwise it's all Chinese food. Chinese food is delicious, but sometimes you got to change it up.
What are some of the go-to quote-unquote Western foods?
Well, near me it would be this Hippie Food place, which is a restaurant. It would be KFC or Burger King or Dairy Queen.
I didn't know about Burger King or Dairy Queen. I knew KFC was very popular over there.
Mm-hmm. And it's good. I had it a couple days ago. It was really good.
Have you seen anything on the menu that stood out to you that you've never seen in an American KFC? I mean, I'm sure they have it.
So yeah, they have your standard wings and drumsticks. Then they have these other. They look kind of like wings, but I guess I looked at the translation and it translates as chicken cartilage. But I think it's just a certain part of the nugget. Leg or the thigh.
Okay.
Yeah, but I had the wings and the fries, and it was really, really good. Then there's this Chinese fast food place a Western Chinese fast food place called Deco's, and I tried that yesterday before I went grocery shopping because I was like, I'm really hungry and I need to eat something before I go grocery shopping. So I had nuggets and fries there, and it was also really good. The nuggets came with a sweet and sour sauce, and that was pretty tasty. But other than that, I've been trying to eat more Chinese food, and then at my apartment, I just have small snacks and have fruits, basically.
So you haven't even, you're not even a cook in general, but you haven't even messed around with that yet.
Well, my gas stove still doesn't work, so I have to get that up and running.
Well,
so I've been using the microwave, and I've reheated. I have some Chinese leftovers, and that's what I'll have for lunch later. It's really good. It's this beef with mushrooms in a soy sauce, and then I have that with steamed broccoli, and it is delicious.
Ooh,
really, really good.
That does sound good. That does sound good.
So,
all right. That's all I got for you right now.
Last thing I'll mention, though, about food, though, Jared, sorry. Last thing I'll mention is I tried, I forget what the dish is called now, but it is basically cooked and seasoned pig intestines. And the only reason why I tried it was the Chinese culture class I went to, the teacher explained it's like a specialty here in Jinan. And because I was in the class, she straight up told me in front of the whole class, she was like, Chad, you have to try it. So I was like, all right, well, I feel kind of obligated. And I went out to this really good Chinese restaurant called Memories of Jinan. And the student suggested it. He's like, oh yeah, try this. So I was like, all right. So I tried it. It was flavor-wise, it was fine, but I just couldn't wrap my head around eating pig intestines. So I had two of them. I ate them.
What was the consistency like?
Very chewy. Very chewy. And what I kept telling myself...
A lot of bites.
A lot of bites, very chewy, a little rubbery almost. And the fun, like I said, the flavor was actually pretty good. But just the thought of pig intestines, it just... But anyways, the funny thing about it though is I'm eating it, and as I'm eating it, I tell myself just pretend it's bacon, just pretend it's bacon, and so that's how I got it down because I didn't want to be rude,
Yeah.
But like I said, flavor wise, it was good. But
I'm glad you did that though, because I think you're gonna run into a couple of those scenarios where you're gonna have to swallow your I was gonna say pride, but not even your pride. You just had give in a little bit, even if you don't want to.
Right. Well, it's good to try new stuff. But I definitely had to be brave.
Like the Untranslatable podcast.
That's true.
Yeah. No. And once you've done it, you don't now you can say you don't want to and actually have something to back that up.
Right.
I'm sure I'm gonna have many more questions, and I'm sure you're gonna have more and more observations and epiphanies while you're there. But this was a good starter. I'm glad you're doing okay. I've seen those pictures of your town. It looks very old school. Is that the right word for it?
Well, that's the old part of town, but yeah, that's the oldest part of town. It's very traditional and old
So
school.
your
Yeah,
area
it's
doesn't
beautiful.
look like that.
No, I'll snap some pics today on my walk to campus for you.
Okay.
Because it's really pretty with the mountains and stuff.
Cool. Yeah, please. A picture out your window or something would be nice.
Right. Absolutely. But now I think it's time to talk about a song of the pod, and I have to give a special shout out to my very good friend Rachel. She was a grad student with me at MSU. She's an amazing person, and she speaks really good Mandarin and has been very, very helpful with advice and tips. And she's a listener of our podcast, Jared, and she actually recommended the song to me. And so she spent some time in Taiwan. And yeah, so thank you very much, Rachel. And the song is by a group called Transition, right?
Yes.
And the song is called Dui Bu Chi, which means I'm sorry in English.
Mm-hmm. Is that my turn? Now I'm supposed to tell you what I think of it?
Yes, that is your tune. Yes, that is your turn,
It's three
Jared.
dudes walking down the street in China singing a song. In Taiwan singing a song. And what language is it?
Chinese, Mandarin.
In Mandarin and English, kind of like mix and explaining. Oh, sorry for my mistakes. I'm a new person here. Oh, sorry. Which obviously Chad understands that feeling. I understand that feeling of when I moved to Germany many years ago. Now I'll say this: it's very like it's clearly like you can tell like those 3 million views are all by like probably expats that live in China or something like that. Probably got passed around the expat circle a lot. It's a good song. It's good for learning. I would imagine. A little cheesy, but it's a good song.
Very catchy though, and I think it sounds really nice. Like the way the lyrics sound, it sounds really nice. And they have thankfully provided the Chinese characters and also English translation below. And the funny thing was though, Jared, I did understand a bit of what they were talking about in the beginning of the video when there's no subtitles. And so this guy at this food place.
Have you been learning anything yet?
Yeah, I have a little bit, bits and pieces.
Listen, I wasn't challenging you. I was curious.
so I felt a little attacked in here, not gonna lie. So what they say, at least the little bit of what I understood was, this Taiwanese guy calls the drummer over and says, "My go ren," which is Chinese for American. So it's like American, I come over here. And then the guy corrects him and says, "I'm not American, I'm an Englishman." So that's what I understood.
I remember that part.
I'm not an Englishman.
Yeah.
And then later in the song, they also sing that. So maybe that's how I figured it out. I'm not really sure, but I know my go ren is American. And I think it actually, what's interesting is it translates to like people of a beautiful country or something like that.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I did like the song. I do like the idea of like I joked, but I do like the idea of it being like a great sort of like song that expats like everyone can sort of remember like the kind of like I remember my first German movie being Lola Rent. Right. It's like I like that sort of, and it's popular. It had like millions of views.
Right.
I liked it though, and I like the idea of it, and I can understand, and it's a struggle that I'm sure you immediately and so many people can relate to.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like, please just give me a break. I'm so sorry. Just constantly just like,
right.
Oh my God, right. I'm so sorry. I'm just
like
in the way.
When I was in the grocery store a couple of days ago, I walked by the cosmetics aisle, and these two shop assistants look at me and try to hand me something and say all this stuff in Chinese, and I was just like, and I told them in English, I'm like, sorry, don't speak Chinese. Now I can at least say "Dui Bu Chi," which means I'm sorry. So we're getting there, and that's from the song. So I'm planning on listening to the song and learning a lot of the vocab from it.
Yeah.
So it's great. Check out our YouTube channel, Untranslatable Podcast, for the song of the pod, "Dui Bu Chi" by Transition. It is a great song, and will teach you definitely some very useful Chinese vocabulary. And it's a catchy song, and there's a really pretty key change in there. I think there's 2 key changes. It goes up and up towards the end of it.
I'll take your word on that.
It's a cute song. Check it out. And thank you again, Rachel, for suggesting it. If you have any other suggestions, Rachel, or anybody else who speaks Mandarin, please let us know, because I am in dire need to learn this language, because the barrier is so much bigger than when I was in the Czech Republic. Speaking of language barriers and trying to overcome them, Jared, it's time for the Chinese word of the pod.
One word at a time. We overcome these barriers one word at a time.
That's right. Yeah, baby steps. And so my word for you today, Jared, is who, and who It's not mama hoo-hoo. It's a different tone. I'm probably not saying the tone right just yet. But hoo, in this case, means lake. And I picked it because I knew you would be by the lake in Ludington.
Yes. So I'm still doing Spanish Words of the Pod. I'm looking for a new show. I think I found one. It's like a crime show. I'm done with Falsa Identidad, man. That show is messed up,
Too
bro.
intense? Okay,
Bummed me out every episode. I don't want to see like there was a whole plot line about a girl, like the police chief of the town, like selling like 18-year-old girls to the cartel for like sex trade.
Yeah, no, I couldn't watch that.
And it was just too much. I was like, this is bumming me out. Like this is not fun.
Right.
So I'm done with that show. But I'm gonna find another show, and I shall prevail. But I do have a Spanish word of the pod.
Nice.
And it is relajar, or if I'm talking about myself, I would say relajo.
Oh, it's to relax.
Wow, how did you know that?
Relax. It's kind of a cognate.
Similar, I guess. So I guess
relajar. Yeah. I'd say that's a cognate.
All right, relax, Chad.
But yeah,
really hard.
I found out, by the way, yesterday that in Afrikaans they also roll their R's. So
interesting.
Little
do they
fun
do that
tidbit
in Dutch?
For you.
No,
I don't think
probably
so.
Not. Yeah, I don't think so either.
Well, Jared, it's time for some corny jokes, and I got a couple that are like jokes or puns, one way or another. And maybe you know this one, but I thought it was kind of funny, and I chuckled. So here we go. Why did the Clydesdale give the pony a glass of water?
I don't know. Why's that? I have no idea.
Because he was a little horse.
I thought it had something to do with like getting hungover because they're sponsored by Budweiser or something.
Oh yeah, I could see where you would think that. My next one for you, Jared, is what do you call a fish without eyes?
I have no idea.
What?
I have no idea.
Fish.
That's
It's hard to pronounce that without the eyes.
Over there.
I am. I'm very easily amused.
It's the jet lag.
It's
the jet lag.
Could be. My last one for you, Jared, is why did the Scarecrow win an award?
Why's that?
Because he was outstanding in his field.
Oh, that's all right. That's good. That's a quality pun right there. That's a good play on words. I like that.
Yep, that's a good one. Yes. That is a good one. Well, Jared, it's time for Quote of the Pod to wrap up our episode. Mm-hmm. And I think to wrap it up, either when you're in Ludington relaxing or on the road again trying to explore your new home, I think the important thing at the end of the day to have good peace of mind is in a way your Spanish word of the pod, which is relax. And for me, here finding relaxation is, a couple of the Western amenities that bring back thoughts of home. So for me, I know this will sound silly, but definitely eating at Dairy Queen was kind of nice. They have Oreo Blizzards, which are delicious.
Do they have food at there too?
They do. They
like
do. And the crazy thing about
fries and stuff?
crazy thing about food, though, Jared, is they display their food, and obviously it's all plastic food, but so you can kind of see what it looks like. So it's like toy food, like children's toy food. So you see what it all looks like, which is kind of cool. But I think
have like a board or something.
Well, and they'll have a little menu, and some of the little menus will have English translated, and then usually what I do is I say "jiga," which is this in Chinese, and point. So there we go. But I think the quote of the pod I would say for today is just whenever you're on the road again, I think it's important to make time for yourself, your mental health, and relax.
Yes. Oh, I agree.
You betcha.
And I feel refreshed, rejuvenated, and ready to drink some of this potentially black cherry wine.
I believe it. Absolutely. Well, we hope you've enjoyed this episode of Jared on the road again in Ludington and me on the road again, still trying to learn the ropes here in China. It's been a great experience for both of us, and we're both very excited to share more with you in the coming episodes. So let us know what you thought of this episode, either at untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com, or you could be amazing and give us 5-star reviews on iTunes or Stitcher. That would be greatly appreciated. And also give us some feedback on what you like or don't like, but preferably what you like so we can give you more of that. And also check out our Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast, for clips, pics, and all sorts of goodies as well. So we want to thank you for listening and all of your support. And as we say here at the Untranslatable Podcast, Děkujeme, muchas gracias, and shisha.